To start our proceedings today, can I introduce Johnson, the Mayor of Liverpool.
Thank you. Can I just start by thanking Kyle Pritchard and Scott Twigg, who were organising this event, if you like to. We have a number of speakers that are going to address you. For the importance of the meeting, I think, is absolutely clear to you all, and that's why you've came. That's why you've come tonight. It isn't about debating or discussing the issue that's been made around Brexit. It's not about rehashing that. It's about making sure that you know that as a city, as leaders of the city, across all the political parties across the city, we're working with each other to try and make sure that we plan ahead for the future so our city continue to move forward. But I think the most important thing and the message that has to come out from everybody tonight is that our city is proud to have different groups across the whole city, different groups, different races, different colours, different creeds, from across our whole city. The region in our city is proud to be associated with the phrase, a world in one city. And every one of those groups in our city unites to make Liverpool one community, because that's what we are. We stand together as one community. We've faced many adversarial sort of positions in our time over many, many decades, and we always get ourselves through them, and we always unite and come together to make sure that that is the case, and this is no exception. So irrespective of what community you come from, what part of the European Union you come from, what part of the world you come from, in Liverpool you will always get a warm welcome, because we are that world in one city. So once again, I want to thank you all for being here. We've got a number of representatives from different groups, but it's not an exhaustive group, because there are people here from the communities, people here from businesses, and people here from voluntary sector groups right across the whole city region. But we've got a number of speakers that I think are important to speak on behalf of parts of the sector and communities across the whole city. The first person I'm going to introduce is the Right Reverend Paul Bayes, the Bishop of Liverpool.
Thank you, Joe. Good evening, everybody. Friends, I've been here in this city now for about a couple of years, that's all. I used to work in the south of London. I came up here with my job. I'm a migrant worker. And I received a welcome, not only from the churches, but from the whole city, which makes me incredibly proud to be the Bishop of Liverpool. I'm really proud that we're standing together today in the face of trouble that might be coming, economic and other kinds of trouble, to say there is zero tolerance for hate speech, zero tolerance for racism. We're not having it. And no matter whether you voted for Brexit or for Remain, no matter about that, we are a city that is open to all and that welcomes all. And speaking on behalf of the faith communities and other colleagues speaking in a minute, we are proud to open the doors to everyone, and we want to say that loud and clear. And speaking as a Christian minister, I want to say something particularly. There are some groups, small racist groups, groups full of anger and hate, who will try to hide behind the Christian religion to get at other people. And if they do that, they're not speaking in my name. They're not speaking for almost all the Christians in the country. We believe in a God who loves those on the edge, and we want to be there for all people, for refugees, for asylum seekers, for the poor, for people of all races, for people of all gender, for people of all sexuality. We say, you are welcome in Liverpool. God bless you. And I am proud to be able to stand here with my brother Bishop Tom from the Roman Catholic Church, but also with Zia and representatives of all the faiths. We, the faiths, stand together at this time in our nation's life to say we want to play our part in opening the doors, in opening our arms, and in making this city proud of that phrase, a world in one city. Thank you.
Thanks, Bishop Paul. Can I now invite Bishop Tom Williams, who's the auxiliary bishop from the Archdiocese of Liverpool.
I realise that the Church is often very careful not to interfere in politics. But now, after last week, there's a real need for a loud voice and a new humanism to be proclaimed by those who contribute most to the ongoing work of uniting Europe with mind and heart. And our city can play a part, a central part, and an essential part in the renewed vision. With mind and heart, with hope and without nostalgia, our city can be like a son or daughter who rediscovers the root of their life and faith. I dream of a new European humanism that can blossom in our city. One that involves a constant work of humanization and calls for all of us to have a sound and human utopian vision. I dream of a city that's young, still capable of being a mother who has life because she respects life and offers hope of life. I dream of a city and a Europe that cares for children, that offers fraternal help to the poor, and those newcomers seeking acceptance because they've lost everything and they need shelter. I dream of a city that is attentive to the concerns of the sick and the elderly, lest they may be set aside as useless. I dream of a city, a Europe, where being a migrant is not a crime, but a summons to greater commitment on behalf of the dignity of every human being. I dream of a city where young people breathe the pure air of honesty, where they love the beauty of a strong and vibrant culture and a simple life undefiled by insatiable consumerism, where getting married and having children is a responsibility and a great joy, not a problem due to the lack of employment. I dream of a city of families where truly effective policies concentrated on faces rather than numbers, on birth rates rather than the rate of consumption. I dream of our city that promotes and protects the rights of everyone, without neglecting its duties towards everyone. I dream of a city and a Europe of which it will not be said that its commitment to human rights was its last utopia. We have a wonderful but often tragic history as a city. We have played our part in the world's most tragic conflicts and traumas over the last 2 centuries, culminating in the most horrific war ever known. But the ruins and ashes of our city's history have made us a city of survivors. Ardent hope and love of life has never been extinguished. We can and must continue to lay the foundation for a bastion of peace, a free commitment to the common good, and a definitive end to confrontation. We, our faith communities, like Europe itself, so long divided and on opposite sides, should now find its true self and begin to build its house. We are a family of peoples. We must continue to remember our past. We must continue to integrate with one another, and especially there's one word that we should never tire of repeating, and that is talking to one another, dialogue. We are all called to promote a culture of dialogue by every possible means, and thus be a beacon to every city and in our nation, and rebuild the fabric of a society and a respect for foreigners. The immigrant, the people from different cultures, they are worthy of listening to. As Pope Francis said recently, we urgently need to engage all the members of our society in building a culture which privileges dialogue as a form of encounter, in creating a means of building consensus and agreement while seeking the goal of a just and responsive and inclusive society. Finally, young people. They are not the future of our city, they are the present. Even now, with their dreams and their lives, they are forging the spirit of our city and of Europe. We cannot look to the future without offering them the real possibility to be catalysts of change and transformation. We cannot envision our city or Europe without letting them take a full part and the protagonist of this dream. Finally, we are a city that is often weary, but we are still rich in energies and responsibilities. Our church and faith communities must play their part. Our task is part of our mission, to proclaim the gospel, which today, even more than ever, finds expression in going forth to bind the wounds of humanity with the powerful yet simple presence of the Lord, and his mercy that consoles and encourages us. God desires to dwell in our midst, but he can only do so through men and women like ourselves and our great heroes and heroines of the past, who have made and continue to make great sacrifices with their roots in a powerful humanism, inspired and rooted in the pure water of the gospel. This is a great opportunity for a great city to not only survive, but to show the world.
And can I invite the next speaker, Zia Chowdhury, who's chair of the Merseyside Council of Faith.
One thing that Liverpool does have is history. And part of that history is that Liverpool has had its fair share of problems. I remember growing up in a city which at times was bleak in its appearance and perhaps bleak also in its outlook. People were leaving Liverpool rather than moving here. We were regarded as a problem city, but problems are there to be solved. That Liverpool is unrecognisable from the city we have today. When we look around, we see a place that attracts visitors from every corner of the globe, because it's a hospitable place, a friendly place, a place where we welcome our guests. Every language is spoken in Liverpool, every nationality represented, and every taste bud catered for. And let's not forget, it's that rich diversity of flavour that makes life worth living. But of course, it should be about more than just bars, shops and restaurants. It's about the communities that should be the lifeblood of any city. The work of Bishops Shepherd and Warlock in bringing Liverpool's Christian communities together paved the way for the religious tolerance that we see in this city today. Churches, synagogues, mosques and temples happily coexist. And those who frequent them are happy to meet, talk and get to know each other. And it's when we talk to each other that we realise how much we have in common. A Muslim mother wearing a hijab wants the same peace and security for her children as a mother of another faith or no faith at all. An old Jewish man has the same age-related issues of other elderly people, regardless of their faith. It's no surprise that people who share a space also share concerns. But when they talk to each other, they are able to address those concerns. And the only thing stopping them talking to each other is fear. I grew up in Liverpool, went to school in Liverpool, and now work in Liverpool. This is my city. This is our city. And it's a city that has always been fearless. We've never let others tell us what to think, and we certainly won't let others tell us who to fear. Problems are there to be solved, and it may be that now we have another one to address. But in the meantime, you are all welcome in our city, and you will all continue to be welcome.
Can I now introduce the next speaker, Councillor Richard Kemp, who's leader of the Liberal Democrats of Liverpool City Council.
Thank you very much, Mayor Anderson. I too would like to thank Kyle and Scott who brought us together. I'd like to thank the Council who dealt with the logistics of bringing us together. And I'd like to thank you for showing your faith in our city and its communities by being here today. The last time I spoke on this plateau was last November. A much smaller, more sombre gathering, because 250 of us gathered at 11 o'clock on the day after the Paris massacres. Brought together by the French people who live in this city, and there's more than 1,000 of them live in the city region. We came together because of the damage and hurt that had been done to a major European city. And we all said that it was our responsibility as another major European city to stand behind Paris and the French. We were a major European city last November. We were a major European city on June the 23rd. We're a major European city on June the 24th, and we are a major European city now. We're a major European city because that's our culture, that's our history, that's where our mates are, that's what our geography is, and that's where our trade is. And that's why Mayor Anderson and I, not renowned as necessarily being the best of friends, are working together to deal with the immediate problems which have been caused by the Brexit vote to our community. When I was here with the French, do you remember that big display of poppies, could you imagine a war in Western Europe now? Oh no, because we've done what Churchill wanted and moved from war to jaw. Some of these EU committees might be a bit boring sometimes, but they're a damn sight better than fighting each other. But just look at some of the people that came during that conflict. It's become fashionable to say that we've got too many Poles here and some of them should go home. We didn't say that when their grandparents fled here in 1939 from fascism. We didn't say that when they fought and died alongside people of my parents' generation for our freedoms and their freedoms. The Poles were welcome here then and they're welcome here now. Walk a mile up there and see the first mosque in the UK. Walk half a mile that way and see the biggest Chinese arch in the country because we had the first Chinese community. Go to the hospitals and see the people from all over the world who aren't destroying our health services, they're preserving them. Go and talk to the families of the Ghanaian and the Nigerian seamen who came here 6 generations ago and came here and stayed here to build our cities. They're all welcome because they're all building a better future, a better city for you and I. So let's just send 2 messages out, all of us together, irrespective of our party and faith. The first message is that we're not small-minded Englanders, we're big-hearted Scousers. And that's why we welcome people to this city. And the second message is, we don't care what they're going to try and do from us in London. We, as a city, will continue to work with Europe, with any country in the world that wants to work with us. Because we're outward-minded, we're internationalists, we are Liverpool, we are the world in one city. Thank you.
Okay, can I now invite the next speaker, who is Councillor Anna Key from the Liverpool Green Party.
Thank you everyone for coming here. It is so very reassuring to see how many people want to express their solidarity, unity and willingness to stand together in those difficult circumstances. Unlike some people who spoke before me, I'm not a great public speaker. However, I want to assure you that everything that you're going to hear from me this evening comes from the bottom of my heart. So first of all, thank you, Liverpool. Thank you so much for the fact that as far as neighbourly relations are concerned, nothing has changed here. Thank you for continuing to accept, welcome and support the migrant communities in the city. Amidst terrifying news from various parts of the UK that hate crime is on the increase, I am delighted to say that this is not the case in Liverpool. And for that, I want to thank the people of Liverpool and express how proud I am to be living amongst you. I came to this city 12 years ago and instantly felt at home here. Having lived in several other cities before, I immediately noticed what makes Liverpoolians stand out. Their warmth and openness, curiosity and will to get to know and help other people, and their fantastic sense of humor. I was amazed how people I had never met before spoke to me on the bus or train, becoming good friends at the end of the journey. I felt honoured and immensely proud when people of St Michael's elected me last year as their councillor, the first Polish-born councillor in Liverpool. After the EU referendum, I have received a lot of messages in my community. People of Liverpool have felt the need to reassure me that they continue to value the benefits that migration has brought to the city and the immigrants themselves. I have been hugged and kissed by people who barely know me, who are all saying the same thing. This has not happened in my name. Thank you for continuing to show your support to the migrant communities. They need it so much now, as, like everyone at present, they are going through the phase of uncertainty and confusion. I have met with many migrants, Poles and those from other countries, who have all expressed their shock, uncertainty, and fears of what the future might bring. Whenever I speak to them, I always make a point of saying that they are welcome and safe in Liverpool, that Liverpool continues to value and appreciate them and their contribution to the society, and that they can continue to call Liverpool home. So let me say it again loud and clear to the migrant communities in Liverpool. You are safe and welcome here in this cosmopolitan city that has been built on immigration and benefited for centuries from the influence of different nationalities and cultures. We now need to seek assurances from the future Prime Minister and government that the residency status and other existing rights of all EU nationals living in the UK will remain unchanged, now and in the future. I am in regular contact with the police, who stress the importance of reporting all incidents of hate crime and discrimination. I am appealing to you here today not to walk past if you see acts of discrimination against immigrants or other vulnerable members of the society. I am asking all potential victims, which I sincerely hope won't be any, not to hesitate but report any incidents to the police, as I have been assured by them that such reports will be treated extremely seriously. I am also asking you here to continue to support each other in these difficult times and keep further strengthening neighbourly and community relations. We are all stronger and better when we are together. Thank you, Liverpool. Continue to stand together.
And I now invite to the lectern Paul Clark, who's chair of Merseyside European Movement.
Delighted to see so many people here at such short notice. It's important that people stand up to be counted at this stage in our country's history. It's unforgivable that political rhetoric has caused an upsurge in prejudice and violence. We stand here tonight shoulder to shoulder to reaffirm our commitment and belief that in our city and in our country everyone is equal. At the same time, we acknowledge and welcome and enjoy the diversity of our city. I remember the strapline for Liverpool being the European capital of culture. Other people have mentioned it. It was the world in one city. We wish for the world in our city. We want to encourage people of all nationalities, colour and faith to enjoy and contribute to our city. It's important, it is very important at this time that we shout loudly that prejudice of any sort is not acceptable. I'm reminded of some of the sayings of my political hero, Martin Luther King, when he said, "He who passively accepts evil is as much involved in it as he who helps to perpetrate it. He who accepts evil without protesting against it is really cooperating with it." We stand here tonight to say we do not accept prejudice and evil, and we protest against it. Dr. King also said, "The ultimate measure of man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. This rally is correctly named Stand Together. We stand together tonight and will continue standing together with all visitors and citizens to Liverpool, no matter what their status is in relation to ethnicity, sexuality or immigration. Unworryingly, although I'm an old-fashioned liberal who worries about prison sentences, I'm quite convinced that the police and the judiciary need to crack down heavily upon those people who are emboldened by this vote to think that they can be racially aggressive and commit racial harassment. We believe in peaceful coexistence in a diverse Liverpool. We should stand together to keep Liverpool hate-free. Let's work together and stand up for a climate of tolerance and a civilised society. I think that if only we had the most famous son of Liverpool, John Lennon, with us at this stage, I'm sure he would say, come together right now.
Thank you, Paul. Can I now invite Michelle Charters, who's the Chief Executive of the Cumbramarni Millennium Centre.
First, I'd like to thank and I'm grateful for Joe Anderson offering me this opportunity to speak today. I am here not as a man on a mandate of any other organisation except for my own. I speak as a black Liverpool-born woman who has worked tirelessly for over 3 decades against inequality. I am very, very proud as a black woman of Liverpool of the history of the immigration which spans over 300 years since the first African, Chinese and Irish immigrants arrived on our shores, followed by the Caribbean, Polish and other Europeans that helped to build this city, its economy, and who fought and died in 2 world wars. I know the work of the sectors in this city in terms of tackling racism, discrimination and xenophobia, and I will say that whilst there has been progress, we as a city and a people still have a way to go. The events of the last week shows just how fragile that work can be undone, and the major concern, never more urgently than now, proves that we as citizens and a city need to unify, educate and learn from the experience of the indigenous, black and diverse communities of Liverpool who have experienced and fought against this evil for many years. I ask that the citizens, the organisations, the sectors and the leaders fight together against this rise in hatred by showing solidarity in order to ensure that Liverpool remains a welcoming city. I, like many others, live, work to tackle inequality, racism and discrimination on a daily basis and against all groups. The organisation I work for came out of the dedication, the commitment and the loyalty of the Liverpool Lake community and the Liverpool Black Sisters and its partners, both public and private at the time, who worked tirelessly to ensure both economic and social justice was for all in a community resource in Toxteth. Cumbramarni houses 8 organisations that work directly on a day-to-day basis to empower, educate and support citizens with learning and physical disabilities, people experiencing mental health and other issues, and refugees from 15 countries spanning East Europe, Africa and Asia. I am glad of the city's public statement of intent tonight for Liverpool to be a welcoming city. Now let's marry up that vision of the city with its people to fight against injustice, xenophobia, racism and discrimination, and to make that dream a reality. Finally, I would like to make 3 points and ask that 1, the city and the people work together. 2, that there is accurate media representation which is made from this important event on this night. And that 3, that we include and engage the children of today in all that we do in order to prepare them as adults for the future, for our welcoming city, Liverpool. Thank you.
Now I introduce the North West Regional Secretary of the TUC, Lynn Collins.
Thanks, Joe, and you'd always save the shouty trade unionist for the end if you want a good rally. So, I bring support from the TUC and all our trade unions and an assurance that trade unions in this city are committed to making sure that our diverse workplaces are free from discrimination and that we welcome the contribution of all workers to our economy as well as to our communities. And it's this city and its trade union brothers and sisters who have a long history of diversity and an equally long history of challenging discrimination and prejudice. So whether that was the women at the forefront of the fight for equal pay in the 70s and 80s at Halewood and Camel Aids, or whether it's our fight against the blacklisting and discrimination of trade unionists, or our long history of international solidarity with those facing struggles around the world. Jack Jones fighting fascism in Spain with a building named after him over there, and our support for Nelson Mandela and the struggle against apartheid in South Africa. We are proud internationalists. And our trade unions know the real story of how we promote harmony at work and in our communities. And today is the 68th anniversary of the founding of our NHS. You ask our NHS trade unions, and they will tell you you're more likely to be treated by a migrant worker than to have one in the next bed to you in our hospital. And to those migrant workers working in our National Health Service, I say thank you for caring for the people of Liverpool. And you ask the teaching unions out on strike today for a decent education system, and they will tell you no child is born a racist. And with good resources, positive support, we can make sure the young people of our city lead the way in promoting an inclusive city and an inclusive community. And speak to our businesses here in the city who'll tell you they could not operate without the hard work of all our workers. Indeed, those arriving in the UK contribute £2 billion more to the economy than they take out of it. So thank you for working in our city. And we expect every one of those workers to be treated with respect, just as we expect the 1.2 million British people working in Europe to be treated with respect there as well. So the TUC has a post-Brexit action action plan, we seek to ensure that our economy survives, our workers' rights remain intact, and we act immediately to halt any rise in racism or hate crimes, whether they be in work or on the streets. We stand shoulder to shoulder with all our communities, drawing on our slogans of the past that have stood the test of time. United we stand, divided we fall. An injury to one is an injury to all of us. So we are pleased to add our support today, and our trade unions commit not just to tackling discrimination and prejudice at work, but wherever in our city it rears its head.
Well, thank you to all our speakers. We're going to do a couple of things, but I just want to pick up on a theme that was made by each of the contributions. That is, for us all to remember about our history and our culture and what makes this city tick. And I want you to not just be here tonight and show that solidarity and support, but I want you to go back to wherever it is you live, whatever workplace you come from, to make sure that you speak out and you speak up with a loud voice, that we won't tolerate racism, that we'll challenge it wherever we see it and we'll report it. Because make no mistake, make absolutely no mistake, that the result that we've seen across the country was based on a factual misjudgment, telling people about race and about immigration into our city. It was the lies that were told that created the situation we're now in. And let me tell you about my fear, and it's where you come in, where you as part of the Liverpool community comes in. My fear is that the prejudice that has been built up over the months, the pictures of refugees used as a weapon to get the vote to vote leave, the lies that were told about the health service, people will believe that there is a better future outside of Europe, and there isn't. And it will be up to us all to challenge it, as people expect there to be better conditions within our city. The conditions and the problems we face in our city are not created by Europe. They're created by a government that is alienated and disconnected from cities up and down the country. It has nothing to do with the European Union. It has to do and is about the Tory government in central government. And so the danger is that as we face more and more austerity and more challenges, the problems will be associated with those communities that we cherish and we welcome and we want in this city. And that's where you come in. That comes back to my point that we have to challenge, we have to make sure that people are told the truth, and we really need to be united in getting that message across, because those problems will continue over the forthcoming months and maybe and potentially the forthcoming years if we don't win the battle to actually continue our relationship with the European Union. But take comfort from the fact that we are here united. Take comfort from the fact that 58% of the people in Liverpool voted to remain. 58%. Now I'm just going to now invite Bishop Paul Bayes to say finally a few words, and then I'm going to invite the Lord Mayor, Councillor Ros Gladden, to say a few words. Bishop Paul.
friends, whether or not you're a person of faith, I want you to think of some of the values that we need if we're going to stand for the things that matter to us and that we've been celebrating tonight. And if you're a person of faith, I want you to ask God to help you with that. And if you're a person of no faith, I want you to reach inside yourself for that. Firstly, for strength, to stand firm against hate. God, give us that strength. Secondly, for justice, that our city region may be a place where all can hold their head high. God, give us justice. Thirdly, for peace, and for the calm, quiet courage that stands up whenever we see hatred. God, give us peaceful strength. Fourthly, for welcome, to open the door of our heart to all people so that no one feels excluded. God, give us welcome. And finally, for love, for the motivation that enables us to stand for what we believe in, for a calm, quiet courage. God, give us love. As we stand together, those of all faiths, those of no faith, we reach for these values and we proclaim that ours is a city where these values are held high. And for Christians, we end by saying, Amen. Amen. Amen.
And now can I finally just introduce Councillor Ros Gladden, the Lord Mayor of Liverpool.
Thank you so much for being here tonight, so many of you. I'm really proud to see so many people turn up here tonight to stand firmly against racism and hate crime in our city. I'm not going to keep you too long. I'm going to introduce a film in a couple of moments that the City Council has put together, and that'll be the end of our proceedings this evening. But I just wanted to say, about 150 years ago, my great-great-grandfather came from Ireland as a child, fleeing the famine that had killed the rest of his family. He came through Clarence Dock, and he found a welcome in this city, and it wasn't the rich people in this city that found a welcome from. It was from those who had next to nothing to share. But the little that they had to share, they shared with him, and they gave him a welcome. They opened up their hearts, and they opened up their homes to him. And that's what Liverpool does. That's what this city does. And we mustn't be caught up in those hate things that people are saying all over the place. Lots of people have talked to me over the last week concerned about the increase in the things that people are saying, the hate crime, talks about against the people in Poland and the European. I'm proud to be Irish. I have Irish blood in my body. I'm proud to be British. I'm proud to live in this city. This city is my home and I love living here. I'm proud of the people that live here. But I'm also proud to be European and I'm proud to be a citizen of the world. And that's what we have got to be. We are proud people. Let's go out and let's look after the people of this city and welcome our strangers. They deserve to be here. Please watch this film. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we say a big thank you to everybody that came out today up on the plateau? And also a huge thank you to every single one of you for coming here today. Take the message away. We are one people and we are the greatest city on this earth. Drive home safely. See you on the radio tonight. Bye-bye.